Hi, welcome back to the Improve Work podcast. Today we'll talk about work relationships, building bridges for positive connections in the workplace. So, work relationships are a key component that impact an employee's motivation and satisfaction at work. Studies show that when positive work relationships are created, employees tend to collaborate more and have positive attitudes toward their jobs and the company. And when the work relationships are poor, the opposite results occur. There are many types of work relationships. We can talk about relationships with colleagues, with direct managers, or with the employer. Essentially, all the connections we have with members of a company fall within this sphere. And connections with customers or clients can be considered work relationships, but we'll not talk about them here. So, given the benefits of positive work relationships on employees' motivation and on their performance and results, companies strive to create the proper conditions for this. How companies do this? What role do they play in this aspect? Don't work relationships depend on the employees themselves? If a company's management assumes that the quality of work relationships depends solely on individual traits such as personality, character, or openness to others, they may miss the opportunity to play an active role in facilitating positive work relationships. Let's explore some ways in which a company can facilitate positive work relationships. One way is by creating opportunities for employees to connect beyond job-related activities and get to know each other as individuals. This could include team building events where employees have the chance to get to know each other better in an informal setting while engaging in fun activities. It could also involve creating office spaces where employees can meet and chat during breaks, helping them bond. Or companies might offer sports benefits, allowing employees to meet outside the workplace and participate in activities together or organize similar initiatives. For remote employees, it might be more challenging to meet in person and build deeper connections, but it is still possible. Companies can arrange online meetings and activities with this purpose in mind. But I believe that having at least one in-person meeting per year with the entire team is valuable for fostering unity and maintaining strong relationships. Is there a potential hidden effect of facilitating relationships beyond professional settings? And do all employees actually want this? Should we encourage our team members to build friendships among themselves and with us as leaders or employers? Could our work relationships be affected if we go beyond professional boundaries and become friends with some of our colleagues? So, on one hand, it's almost unnatural to restrict ourselves from forming friendships with those we feel a natural affinity toward. Socializing after work, such as having a drink or doing activities together, is a common practice among team members, and this can positively influence the workplace. They get along better and may be more open to helping each other and collaborate. On the other hand, those who have friendships in addition to their work relationships may find themselves in role conflicts, when their role as a friend prompts them to act in one way, while their role as a colleague, manager, or employer suggests they should act differently. And in addition to this, they may sometimes struggle to distinguish between these two roles, or may not be fully aware how one role is influencing the other, leading to poor decisions. So, for example, two colleagues who have the same position or at the same level might communicate and collaborate more with each other because they are friends, while unintentionally treating a third colleague differently or even marginalizing this person in a shared project. They may not realize that the third colleague is dissatisfied with the situation And even though their friendships helps them to work better together, it creates issues with the third colleague that is in the same project. Another example could be an employer who faces the difficult decision of letting go of some of his team members due to financial challenges. Would this employer decision on whom to let go be influenced by his friendships with certain team members? And if so, this could harm the business best interests. Another way to facilitate positive work relationships is by building trust in the workplace. Because these kinds of situations which I've mentioned before happen, and people have gone through them or know someone who was in this type of situation, someone may be cautious about forming friendships in the workplace. You might heard some people say that colleagues are not your friends, that you should not trust your teammates, that they will turn your back as soon as they have the chance, and so on. And thinking like this, it shows a lack of trust in others, which of course will affect their behaviors towards their colleagues. And even if a situation of favoritism didn't happen in your company, employees may have experienced it in other workplaces and keep themselves distant from others to avoid being hurt again or putting themselves in vulnerable situations. Also, if they believe that some decisions were made based on friendships, even if there are objective reasons they aren't aware of, they will act as if unfair decisions were made. That's why being transparent and asking for their feedback in different situations is important to clarify things and address any false assumptions. So, whether employees form connections outside of work or not, trust is essential in creating positive work relationships. A company can't build trust between two individuals, but it can show that all members are treated fairly all the time. It can guarantee that everyone will behave appropriately, but it can ensure that issues will be addressed and resolved. And related to this, another way to facilitate positive work relationships is by addressing inappropriate or toxic behaviors. Bullying situations, spreading false information about others, taking advantage of colleagues' work or ideas, making decisions based on personal interests, lack of respect, and similar behaviors must be addressed. Only by being proactive, preventing and responding to these kinds of situations, a company can create a safe space for its members and diminish unwanted behaviors. Now, every company has rules to ensure respectful behaviors between employees because they have to comply with legal regulations, but unfortunately, not all of them succeed to apply them properly. As a manager or employer, you need to have those tough conversations with people who crossed the boundaries of respectful relationships, or designate someone to handle these kinds of situations. Now you may think that it's not your role to teach people how to behave, but if these boundaries are crossed within the company, then yes, it is your responsibility. And if simply discussing these matters doesn't lead to the desired results, you may need to escalate to disciplinary actions, applying sanctions, or even dismissing the employee who is causing problems. Another way to facilitate positive work relationships is through the company's culture. The company's culture plays an essential role in creating positive work relationships. The value it sustains and applies through norms, rules, policies, and processes impact how employees interact with each other. So, for example, work relationships are different in a company that values competition, than in a company that values collaboration between employees. And then being fair and transparent in decisions that impact team members also impact work relationships. Decisions such as promotions and task assignments need to be made transparent so that team members understand the reasons behind them and see that they are made in a fair way. Inequity is one of the main reasons people feel discontent or dissatisfied in the workplace. They may form animosity towards individuals whom they think were advantaged, which can influence the quality of their relationships. Even if management believes they have made a fair decision, if team members do not understand the reasons behind it or do not agree with those reasons, they may still feel dissatisfied. And being transparent allows for feedback. It's an opportunity to understand how different decisions and actions are perceived by the employees. Addressing their complaints and disagreements, it's a chance to reach agreement and gain their support toward your decisions. Another important piece of facilitating positive work relationships is managing conflicts. As long as conflicts arise in the workplace, the company is responsible for managing them. Even when conflicts are not work-related, if they affect other employees, they need to be addressed and resolved to prevent negative impacts on the company. An unresolved conflict may persist for a long time and affect not only those directly involved, but also other employees. Conflicts can disrupt communication and collaboration between team members and can create a division between those who support one party and those who support the other party. Another way to facilitate positive work relationships is by recognizing the employees' contributions. When employees' contributions are recognized and appreciated, it's more likely that they will be satisfied with their jobs and have a positive attitudes towards their managers and their colleagues. And the last method that I will mention to facilitate positive work relationships is by enhancing employees' abilities to communicate and solve conflicts. You can do this by offering training and courses in communication and conflicts, and this can add a tremendous value to work relationships and how employees relate to one another and on their ability to solve conflicts. In conclusion, companies have the power to set the standards for work relationships and build healthy, collaborative relationships among employees. Assuming an active role in this leads to a safe work environment where employees trust that their rights are respected and there will be fewer conflicts and less stress. Ensuring positive work relationships benefits not only the employees but also the company, because it helps them to stay focused on their activities instead of being distracted by issues with their colleagues. It also encourages them to be more open to collaborate and to share knowledge and experiences, and creating better conditions for productivity and achieving greater results. And additionally, positive work relationships impact employee retention rates. So you'll be able to retain more people in your company because they will be more satisfied with their jobs. This was all for today. Thank you for listening. If you like this episode, subscribe and leave me a comment.